Thank you for watching QTV. With the news, my name is Diana Sumbwe. Stories making headlines. Government has indefinitely suspended the 2018 examinations for grade 7, 9 and 12 following the leakage of exam papers. The Oasis Forum has charged that Zambia now has locally grown autocracy, and former Finance Minister Ngandu Magande has pleaded with First Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda to talk to President Edgar Lungu and UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema. Details in our news. General Education Minister David Mawumba has announced the indefinite suspension of the 2018 examinations at all levels due to infiltration. Mr. Mawumba has told a media briefing that the suspension affects the grade 9, 7 and 12 examinations. He says this follows the leakage of the grade 9 mathematics paper 2 examination question paper online. Mr. Mawumba says his ministry and the Examinations Council of Zambia received a notification on 22nd October 2018 to the effect that the 2018 grade 9 mathematics paper 2 question paper had been posted on the Zambian watchdog, hence the decision to nullify the exam paper after verifying its authenticity. The minister states that arising from the verification that was done in line with ECZ Act Chapter 137 of the Laws of Zambia, Section 22, Cap 1, the ECZ has decided to nullify the grade 9 mathematics paper 2 examination, which should have been written on 23rd October 2018 at 8 hours. Mr. Mawumba says he has since instructed management at ECZ to print another paper to be administered at a later date to be advised before the end of the examination session. He further states that the ECZ management and the ministry working with the government investigating wings have been instructed to take remedial measures, mitigate the situation and thoroughly investigate the matter and bring perpetrators to book.
We have got grade 7 exams that are supposed to be written. We have ongoing grade 9 exams that are being written. The grade 12s are supposed to start on a Monday. But because we don't know the extent of the infiltration, we cannot proceed with administering those examinations until when the reports from the field, which we expect to get maybe probably by Friday this week, indicate otherwise and give us a status of how the examination materials which were supplied are. So in summary, all the examinations at all levels have been postponed until further notice. The council arranged to verify the authenticity of the secreted material. That verification process took place at the ECZ strong room around 22:45 hours. The process was conducted by 4 Examination Council of Zambia officials in the presence of 2 Zambia police officers. In C, upon comparing the material that was secreted online with that in the ECZ strong storage, it was noted that indeed the 2018 mathematics paper 2 examination was leaked and circulated on online media. Measures, because we need also to ensure that we adhere to the provision of the law, because the law mandates Examination Council of Zambia. So in as he has said, in line with the ECZ Act Cap 137 of the Laws of Zambia, Section 22(1), the examination results for the grade 9 mathematics paper 2 examination paper, which would have been written today, the 23rd of October 2018 in the morning at 8 hours, has been nullified. So that's a decision as read by the director from the Examination Council of Zambia.
Speaking at the same briefing, Examinations Council of Zambia Director Dr. Michael Chilala said the council will also nullify examinations that have already been written if it is established that they were also infiltrated based on reports of examination officers.
Education officers will write reports to that effect, and there are procedures for handling cases of malpractice. If they have been infiltrated, then they will be reported as cases of malpractices and they will be handled following the existing procedures. The existing procedure is that when the cases of examination malpractices are reported, we screen them as management, and once we have assessed the evidence existing, we present to the various committees of council, and the committees of council nullify those results, and the candidates who are involved are suspended from writing exams for 2 years. We again put the statistics of such in the statement that is read by the Honorable Minister as he announces the results. Where the council is satisfied that there has been an irregularity in the course of any examination, the council may suspend or nullify such examination or any part thereof. Under Section 22(2), It says, where the council is satisfied that there is reasonable cause to believe that the examination results of any candidate have been obtained by irregular means, the council may nullify the examination results of such candidate. Education.
The Oasis Forum has charged that instead of a colonially imposed dictatorship, Zambia now has a locally grown autocracy 54 years after independence. Oasis Forum chairperson Eddie Mwitwa says instead of a ruling white elite, Zambia now has a ruling African elite that has imposed a similar system of oppression and dictatorship as the white elite. In a statement made available to QTV News, Mr. Mwitwa says the development of a police state has greatly contributed to the unconstitutional powers assumed by dictatorial-type governance. He is concerned that the police service, which is supposed to be a professional institution guided by the Constitution and the law, is instead found to be taking instructions from the government and even directly from the ruling party. Mr. Mwitwa has expressed displeasure on how the police are misusing the Public Order Act, where they are prohibiting and sometimes attacking public protests and opposition party members and even arrest people on pretext that such meetings do not have a police permit. He has added that this contributes to the perpetual stay in power of a dictatorial government by inducing fear in the citizenry through reckless conduct of some police officers who seem to specialize in violating people's right to lawful assembly and freedom of expression. Mr. Mwitwa states that there is no requirement for a police permit in the Public Order Act. Meanwhile, the Human Rights Commission has noted with grave concern the escalating suppression of civil and political rights and freedoms of individuals through the abuse of the Public Order Act. The Commission has since called for urgent appropriate governance agenda setting by the executive. Commission spokesperson Mwelwa Mulea has cited the recent arrest of some clergymen and representatives of the Center for Policy and Trade Development (CTPD) who had assembled to discuss the 2019 budget in church on the Copperbelt, the continued suppression of the political rights of Bahati Member of Parliament Harry Kalaba and Ron Member of Parliament Shimba Kambwili as some of the alarming cases of abuse of the Public Order Act. Mr. Mulea states that the understanding of the Commission is that there is neither a restriction order against free movement of anyone in state of emergency that would justify suppression of the rights to freedom of assembly and movement of selected individuals. Former Finance Minister Ngandu Magande has pleaded with First Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda to diffuse the political tension between President Edgar Lungu and UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. Magande is of the firm belief that Dr. Kaunda can help reconcile the two leaders and find a solution to the political impasse in the country, especially between the ruling PF and opposition UPND. Has noted with sadness that the kind of politics prevailing in the country currently is very different from the politics practiced during the time of the UNIP government and opposition political parties then. We have more in this report.
He has paid a courtesy call on First Republican President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda at his residence as part of this year's Zambia's Independence Day celebrations. Flanked by his wife, children, grandchildren, Mr. Magande was welcomed by a jovial and energetic Dr. Kaunda. The former finance minister used the occasion to call upon Dr. Kaunda to seek audience with President Edgar Lungu and UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema to help resolve the current impasse between the two political party leaders.
I reflect on what Your Excellency is happening now in the country and what happened then. I want to plead that since you are still alive, can you make it your homework and your mission that you bring these two young people together? President Lungu must be brought to sit down with the opposition, with the Hakainde, and tell the community and tell us where they want to take Zambia. What is their vision for Zambia? What is their mission? As they talk at different times, are they looking at the way you and the Harry Mwanga Kumbula looked at the country in 1962? do they have a common denominator that the rest of the people can follow? Because some of us, we see that that is missing. So that, Your Excellency, perhaps is now a request I have to make to my president. What you did, we appreciate. But what is happening now, those of us who have lived through your rule, we don't think we appreciate. And this is getting the whole country into, again, a difficult position. As you know, Your Excellency, being at the ACP, I had to travel the whole world. So I left friends all over the world. And when they ask me, what is going on in Zambia? Incidents as recent as last week, when people who were meeting church people are arrested by the police. It has never been done. I can't imagine it. And when somebody is asking me, perhaps from Nigeria, I fail to answer. Then they say, but what are you doing in the country?
In response, Dr. Kaunda said he is sorry about the current happenings in the political arena.
We pray that those who can manage to learn from your outstanding example, be able to do so. I'm sorry about the development between Longo and the question. Young man, can I say please? You have grown up, so in a wonderful way. I'm saying continue to grow. Continue to grow that way. Peter, because we think you can still help us in this country to handle difficult situations which might arise in time to time.
The economist-turned-politician also used the occasion to present his book titled The Death of My Footprints to Dr. Kaunda.
Every time when I leave home, we agree and you find me. Then he says, I look for your footprints. Your footprints are very deep, so I know where you have gone. This is the origin of the title. So I called this The Depth of My Footprints, which my father was able to find. So it's in anticipation that the young people will find also my footprints and follow them. They will be very lucky that I was already given different assignments. It will be a question of repeating what you actually gave me to do. So this is the origin of the story. But otherwise, in this story, Your Excellency, I have narrated a lot of incidents.
Nakaonga reporting for QTV News in Lusaka.
National Planning Minister Alexander Chiteme has appealed to the United Kingdom UK Department for International Development DFID to consider reversing the decision to withdraw finance assistance to the social cash transfer. Government last month refunded £2.7 million meant for the social cash transfer after the UK government demanded it back following reports that it had been misappropriated. Speaking during a Patriotic Front Interactive Forum, Mr. Chiteme expressed regret that DFID can ask government to refund the money meant to benefit the vulnerable people in society. Mr. Chiteme says government did not misappropriate the money but kept it safe in a bank account awaiting distribution to vulnerable, deserving beneficiaries. Meanwhile, Mr. Chiteme says government has put in place measures to ensure that the economy rebounds strongly. He has also disclosed that government is introducing a public investment board where all government projects are appraised.
We are also considering the planning and budgeting bill that very soon is going to be tabled before Cabinet. We are also looking at the Financial Services Act that will be tabled at Cabinet. All those acts are meant to make sure that we strengthen our civil service screening system and the penalties that accrue to those thieving civil servants. The punishment to all those thieving, not only the civil service. And if you're a politician, you are found wanting, you are there in the Financial Services Act. You make sure that you are taken and brought to book and brought to account. We have also gone further and brought in the statistics bill. That is going to make sure that the data that is coming out of our Central Statistics Office is more credible, more reliable, because now we are going to have a board at Central Statistics, and it's becoming a
completed the formulation of a planning and budgeting bill and the Financial Services Act and will soon be tabled before Cabinet for approval. Mr. Chiteme has also revealed that government has formulated the statistics bill that will ensure that data coming from the Central Statistical Office is more credible and reliable. Police in Lusaka have arrested 3 suspects for swindling people of 18,000 kwacha using money transfer service. Police spokesperson Esther Katongo says 3 suspects were allegedly impersonating public officers and subsequently swindled 9 members of the public out of money amounting to 18,000 kwacha on pretext that they were recruiting officers for the Zambia National Service (ZNS), Zambia Air Force (ZAF), Zambia Police and Road Development Agency. Ms. Katongo says the victims were made to deposit money using 4 mobile lines: 0970 516 959, 0971 638 539, 0978 136 530, and 0968 040 425. Registered on Airtel Mobile Money, MTN Money and Zona Money Transfer, which was later withdrawn by the suspects, who were also found with fake documents. She adds that this is reported to have happened between August 2018 and October 2018 at different dates and times. Ms. Katongo has identified the suspects as Temwani Chilongo, age 29, of Garden House in Lusaka, Batulani Chilongo, age 32, of Lwangwa Township in Kitwe, and Isaac Longwa, age 30, of Kalundu View in Kafue. She says the suspects are currently detained in police custody, yet to be jointly charged with obtaining money by false pretenses, forgery, and uttering and impersonation. Ms. Katongo has since appealed to members of the public who might have fallen victim to such scams to report to any nearest police station. She has also advised members of the public to always be security conscious, as there is a scam where criminals are sending messages to deceive members of the public that they have won in a promotion involving large sums of money in dollars and are being requested to send their personal details, which may be in turn used to access their bank accounts, mobile money accounts, and other financial transactions. Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has arrived in Zambia ahead of independence celebrations. President Mnangagwa arrived at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport in Lusaka at about 14:15 hours Zambian time aboard Air Zimbabwe. Zanis reports that President Edgar Lungu led senior government officials and service chiefs at the airport to receive his visiting counterpart. The Zimbabwean president, upon arrival, inspected the guard of honor mounted by the Zambia Army. The visiting head of state was accorded a 21-gun salute and was later treated to some entertainment by cultural troops. President Mnangagwa is expected to grace this year's 54th Independence Day, which falls on October 24th, 2018. President Lungu, with his counterpart President Mnangagwa, will host the national flag at midnight at the showgrounds in Lusaka. This year's independence will be commemorated under the theme 54th Independence Anniversary, celebrating a shared future of unity, development and prosperity. Various activities have been lined up for the events to mark the Political Liberation Day of Zambia. Government will this Friday 26 October commission the export of 20 megawatts of power to neighboring Malawi. Minister of Energy Matthew Nkua says a further 50 megawatts of power will be provided to that country once it upgrades its transmission line. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Nkua says Malawi is buying power from Zambia as it is only able to produce 300 megawatts of electricity and currently has a deficit of 200 megawatts. Mr. Nkua states that the government therefore wants to supply power to the neighboring country with the aim of earning foreign exchange. He adds that the fact that Zambia is exporting power is an indication that the country does not have a power deficit. Mr. Nkua says this also means that there is no load shedding in the country. He was, however, quick to explain that areas where supply of electricity is being cut is as a result of maintenance works being carried out on the ZESCO substations.
So as things are, we are not having load shedding, but we have maintenance work which we are doing, and we've got major works that we are doing at the Leopards Hill substation here in Lusaka, just by the Leopards Hill there. That substation is very old, and therefore it's got components that need replacing, and these components we started in September and we expect to finish in December. So they have to isolate some areas so that they can work on the particular lines. So this is where you are getting maybe the so-called load shedding. It is load shedding, yes, because we are working on the lines, not that we are short of electricity. And I must also say, and I've said this before, we have had a lot of rain this year, and therefore there's a lot of water. There's no such thing that we need to economize on the usage of the water. There's a lot of water, so we can produce a lot of electricity at any given time.
The United States government has handed over 43 motorbikes and other essential laboratory equipment to Lusaka province. Speaking during the handover ceremony at the provincial administration offices, United States Ambassador to Zambia Daniel Foot says the donation is part of the 75 motorbikes, refrigerators, freezers and centrifuges aimed at supporting art surge campaigns in Lusaka, Western, Eastern and Southern provinces. Mr. Foot says the United States government is a proud partner of Zambia and is committed to rapidly expand the number of people receiving life-saving HIV treatment. Details in this report.
The United States government has today reaffirmed its commitment towards helping Zambia reach HIV epidemic control by 2020. This was done by the symbolic gesture of donating 43 motorbikes and other essential laboratory equipments to Lusaka Province Minister Bowman Lusambo for the Provincial Health Office. The 43 are part of the 75 motorbikes, fridges, centrifuges, and other essential laboratory equipments valued at $750,000 million United States dollars aimed at supporting ART surge campaigns in Lusaka, Western, Eastern and Southern provinces of Zambia. The occasion was officiated by United States Ambassador Daniel Foot, who disclosed that the United States government has since 2008 supported the Lusaka Provincial Health Office with approximately $23 million United States dollars of HIV/AIDS programs.
My government, the United States, continues to be a proud partner of the Zambian government and people. Since 2004, we have spent on health alone $3.5 billion. Today I'm just going to talk about a couple small but critical pieces of that overall expense. Since 2008, here in Lusaka province, the President's emergency plan for AIDS relief through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention of the United States has provided about $23 million directly to the Lusaka provincial government in support of providing high-quality, comprehensive, and sustainable HIV prevention, care, and treatment services. And we are thrilled to have Lusaka province and the minister as partners as we strive to reach HIV epidemic control by 2020, which is coming up pretty soon.
Lusaka Province Minister Boman Lusamba was on hand to receive the donation.
This support equally demonstrates the United States government's commitment to Zambia's national HIV response and its confidence in our ability to reach our biggest goals. I would like to thank the United States government through CDC for this gesture and remind my officers and district health management teams that these motorbikes and laboratory equipment have been procured at a huge cost, which would have gone to other equally important developmental projects. Therefore, there is need for districts to take extra care for these motorbikes and laboratory equipment by using them for the intended purpose. Furthermore, this should accordingly be maintained, serviced, and insured.
And Association of Public Health Laboratories was represented by country lead Clement Piri.
With support from funding from CDC, which is the USG funded agency, and the donation is worth $300,000 that APHL is contributing towards building capacity in the Lusaka province. And being one of the few laboratory-based PEPFAR-funded organizations that are supporting the MOH in strengthening the laboratory services in Zambia, APHL remains committed to contributing to the successful implementation of various laboratory initiatives to support the HIV/AIDS program. And with that, APHL remains grateful to the American government, PEPFAR, to CDC, and to Ministry of Health for entrusting us with the responsibility to implement the listed and other various activities in order to improve the health service delivery in the country. Thank you so much.
It is hoped that this donation of motorbikes and lab equipment will help advance the ART surge campaigns and help achieve HIV epidemic control by 2020. Nakaonga reporting for QTV News in Lusaka.
Minister of Finance Margaret Mwanakatwe says government is aware of the challenges local entrepreneurs face in accessing financing that is structured for the primary purpose of stimulating growth of small-medium enterprises, SMEs, and local businesses. Speaking at the launch of the Zambia Industrial and Commercial Bank Limited, formerly Intermarket Banking Corporation, Mrs. Mwanakatwe said access to finance for SMEs is limited due to the presence of the structural constraints, including firm informality, high collateral requirements, and poor bank lending tools. She says these challenges of lack of affordable and long-term access to financing, among others, have been cited by SMEs as the major reasons for their low participation in the major economic activities of the country. Mrs. Mwanakatwe says government wants to see enhanced growth of local businesses and hence local productivity. We have more in this report.
On 28 November 2017, the over 66,000 depositors of the Intermarket Bank woke up to a rude shock as they could not access their finances as the bank had become insolvent. It is for this reason that the opening of the Zambia Industrial and Commercial Bank ZICB, formerly Intermarket Bank Corporation, is like an Independence Day gift as it comes on the eve of Zambia's 54th Independence Day celebration. Speaking when she officiated at the opening of the revived Intermarket Bank, now the Zambia Industrial and Commercial Bank, Minister of Finance Margaret Mwanakatwe hopes that the bank will help government in finding solutions to challenges that impede small and medium enterprises from fully being at the helm of Zambia's economic growth.
This challenge has received international recognition. The World Bank's 2013 Enterprise Survey indicates the #1 barrier to growth for firms in Zambia is access to affordable long-term credit. The #2 is practices such as inadequate and poor record keeping. And amongst those is the #3, which is poor corporate governance of the informal sector. Access to finance for SMEs is limited due to the presence of structural constraints, including firm informality.
Speaking at the same launch, Bank of Zambia Director for Bank Supervision Gladys Mposha has urged management and the board of the newly restructured bank to endeavor to become the best bank in the country by offering affordable and convenient products and services to its customers. She says the central bank is also happy that government plans to take the deposit insurance bill to Parliament for enactment into law, as it will foster financial inclusion and protect the banking community in an event that the bank fails.
This is the first of this kind of restructuring of a bank that has been undertaken by the Bank of Zambia. And it is for this reason that we are delighted to witness the launch of the product of the spirited restructuring exercise, the ZICP. Previously, when banks failed on account of insolvency, only one model of rescue was available in the regulatory framework.
And Zambia Industrial and Commercial Bank Board Chairperson Charles Sichingwa says the bank will commit itself to ensuring that it delivers on its core mandate, which is to support commercialization, industrialization, and the growth of its customers.
We see a future where an increasing number of goods and services consumed in our country will be locally made or locally produced by Zambians. Guests of honor, this is the bold undertaking, but for which we are committed.
It is only hoped that the bank will deliver on its core mandate and contribute to the growth of the SME sector in the country. Chilesha Mwango reporting for QTV News.
The value for market capitalization of listed companies in Zambia grew to 62.9 million kwacha in the third quarter of 2018 in kwacha terms. Security and Exchange Commission CEC Chief Executive Officer Philip Chitalu says this growth is 0.08% higher than the 62.8 million kwacha growth recorded in the second quarter. Mr. Chitalu says on a year-to-year basis, the market capitalization grew by 3.37% from 60.8 million kwacha in the third quarter of 2017 to 62.9 million during the same period in 2018. Speaking during a quarterly media briefing in Lusaka, Mr. Chitalu observed that this trend signifies steady growth of the market on a year-to-year basis in kwacha terms. He has, however, noted that in US dollar terms, the market capitalization on both a quarterly and annual basis declined by 17.73% and 17.58% respectively. Mr. Chitalu has told journalists that this decline is as a result of the depreciation of the kwacha against the United States dollar, both on a quarterly and on a year-on-year basis.
2018, the market capitalization stood at 62 billion, which is about $6.2 million. That's compared to about 60 billion or about $6 billion in September of 2017. With respect to June, making a comparison, that is quarter to quarter, there is a 0.23% increase, but on an annual basis, there's been an increase of 9.93%. Basically, that shows that if somebody had invested on the securities exchange in what we call a diversified portfolio, that means you invest in most of the companies listed on the securities exchange, your capital would have grown by 9.3%, which is above your average inflation during this period of 7%. So you'd actually end up with a positive growth. Then there's been a lot of interest in saving by small, making small regular savings that we talked about earlier on. This is collective investment schemes where a group of people put money together, managed by a professional finance person, and invested in various sectors of the economy.
And Mr. Chitalu says the number of shares traded on a quarterly basis declined by negative 27.85% and increased by 37.98% on an annual basis. He, however, states that the volume of shares traded fell on both quarterly and on an annual basis by 95.22% and 22.24% respectively.
So the takeaway is the main index is the Lusaka All Shares Index, which is the main index you get to see on TVs. When you watch Bloomberg and other news products, you get to see those, the Dow Jones, the Fortune 500. That's the number to watch out for. That's the number I said went up by 9.93% on a year-to-year basis, from 4,974.02 to 5,468.17. So that shows you the barometer, if you like, of the operations of the stock exchange. Details with respect to those numbers are included in our brief. So
the Zambia Army Command has handed over 30 pairs of cadet uniforms and combat boots to Chikandano Day School in Senior Chief Nzamane's area in Mtenguleni Township in Chipata, Eastern Province. Speaking during the handover ceremony, Zambia Army Deputy Commander and Chief of Staff Major General Jackson Miti says it's the command's desire to see the pupils learn in a conducive environment and pledge to continue rendering support to the school. General Miti, who is also a former pupil at Chikandano Day School, offered financial support for the renovation of a grade 1 classroom, which he has since adopted. Meanwhile, Chikandano Day School head teacher Rhoda Manda thanked General Miti for the donation, which she said would go a long way in ensuring that the children received quality education.
Vahedi vananipempa kuti pano pali cadet contingent, so vakadeti valibe ma uniform, so ndiye katundu wamene nabwera nawo lero. China chamene nabweresa nakambati grade 1 class ija ndavauza vahedi nati muichite assess vane vifunikira muniuze, so vanachita assess vananitumizira quotation kupenta na kufaka mawindo ndarama nabweresa ija ya yoshikira yakuti class ila ikaoneke bwino, so that a grade 1 ngati mwayamba school vakazinkhala motivated, vakaziganizirapo kuti muno ndiye munapita va deputy army commander. I will continue supporting this school in as far as God blesses me with whatever he blesses me with.
Chikando was built in 1938. Many pupils have passed through this school. No one, not even a single pupil, has ever remembered Chikando the way the Deputy Army Commander has done it. He has already adopted a grade 1 class. This is an encouragement to all of you.
To end the news, we recap on stories making headlines. Government has indefinitely suspended the 2018 examinations for grades 7, 9 and 12 following the leakage of exam papers. The Oasis Forum has charged that Zambia now has a locally grown autocracy. And former Finance Minister Ngandu Magande has pleaded with the first Republican President, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, to talk to President Edgar Lungu and UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema. On that note, we come to the end of the news. From me, Diana Sumbwe. Thank you for watching.